Cool. We're back. How are you?
Good.
Feeling?
Pretty good.
Yeah. 36 weeks.
Yep. Probably going to have my baby soon.
Maybe
so
today.
could be any day. This might be the last time you guys see me as well.
So this is episode 3. We just actually officially launched the podcast.
Have you watched it? I haven't. I can't.
I watched it before we officially made it live.
Yeah.
Because we had to go in and do some edits and pick things. That being that first episode, I watched it with Alan. But since launching it, I have not watched it since. Yeah, and you haven't either.
No. Just let it ride.
Just let it be there. It's just for everyone else's enjoyment, not ours. Yeah, I think there were, with starting this podcast, there was fear, my own fear of putting it out there.
Yeah.
Just being more vulnerable. Being more open, being on camera. I'm not used to being on camera, those types of things. I can do pictures, but actually hearing your voice, which I will say, I don't hate my voice as much as I thought.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, but so I haven't watched it since.
Good feedback though.
Great feedback. I think I was most, again, the fear of it, of putting it out there, but obviously having so many people, one, watch the little clip and then going on to the actual YouTube. I should have looked right before we got on here how many people have watched it. I think this week it was on actual YouTube was maybe 100, which is
nice.
A lot.
Heck yeah.
That's a lot of people. I was expecting maybe
especially because we know 10 of those aren't us.
Totally.
Might be our husbands.
Yeah.
Or our parents, as discussed. But
yeah. So, but I think overall, the feedback, we obviously have our own supporter, it's just friends and clients and networks and things. People are always going to hype you up because they love what you're doing, which is the coolest thing of always having your cheerleaders. But I think for me, and I'm so curious to hear any sort of response that you got. I was shocked by some of the initial responses that I got from people. A couple people reached out to me. One in particular, it's a client and a friend of mine, and she was so appreciative of the potential of content that we're putting out, of talking about comparing to other people, comparing to moms, comparing to friends, people that are, I think we live now in this world of social media where everything is a highlight reel, everything is so great, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And especially in this new journey of becoming something that you've never been before, it's how do you not compare yourself to someone that, they're back to working out a week after they've had a baby?
Oh my gosh, I just saw somebody who went on a walk, I think it was 3 days after their baby, and I was like, how can I do that?
Totally. and it's that's amazing for that person. Awesome. But will you be in that space? Who knows? You'd love to be.
Just good open dialogue.
Yeah, open dialogue. And it was just really nice because I think we're in it, but we also haven't gotten to it yet. And so seeing that a lot of these people in our worlds are in it and feeling whether it's isolated from this world of feeling you need to be perfect or you need to have things or things need to be going a specific way. So that was I don't know. I just, it's there's a purpose to us talking about it.
Totally.
And talking to other people and hopefully again, opening our arms to a broader community that can all relate to each other and and be funny about it too. I'm we're all gonna be we're going through some weird stuff and it's only gonna get weirder. So that was first response that I was really great. And then my dad was the cutest. He called me the day we launched and was so ecstatic of this is the best. Everyone needs to hear this. It's so hard for moms. He's I've already watched it twice. I'm going to watch it again.
So your dad is 10 of those views.
Probably. Yeah. Totally.
Makes sense.
Which is fine.
Fair.
I'm honestly fine with that. I'm
right.
Whatever.
Biggest supporter.
Biggest fan.
That's awesome.
He'll be pumping us up and trying to get us ad support.
Yeah.
Something.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. It was this validation, not like that that doing this was any sort of like searching for validation, but validation that like our conversations are at least like,
well, it's scary,
Yeah,
you know,
or-
putting it out there, and you wonder like what people think about it automatically, which is why we're doing it.
yeah.
You know, we've had extensive conversations. I know it's in kind of your topic agenda, so I won't
No.
I won't
It's okay.
jump the gun, but
Like, okay, yeah. But perfect. So did you have any like responses that you were at least like shocked by or like,
I think-
or like more open to being like, cool, I can actually have this conversation with this person or
Yeah.
too?
I think like the scary part right now, 34 weeks, which I'm also like, I don't know if you can see my stomach moving, but she's just like moving around. I feel like it's moving my microphone. But 36 weeks, I was a month early. So I'm always like,
Yeah.
I could
Be
have
that.
my baby a month early.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of the like nervousness behind it is that people are going to be like, well, you're having your baby really soon. Maybe I should just work with somebody else,
Yeah.
you know? And like, I'm pretty good on my energy level right now. People say you get it back in your third trimester. I'm pretty good. And I'm trying to like keep stuff going, especially after moving companies, really trying to work like as hard as I can. And I don't want people to go with somebody else. You know, I want them to trust me like, hey, when I have my baby, my sister will jump in, Turner will jump in. Like, I'll have support,
Yeah.
but like, you got to hang with me. And that's a lot of what makes me scared, especially with clients that I'm friends with on Instagram, because then they start seeing it.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. So I think like that's the hardest part right now, being that the timing is so close. So the good thing is for me, we were kind of talking about this, you know, it all depends on how the person referring you sets you up too.
Totally.
So like,
Totally.
it's funny because a lot of my referral partners are women. So I feel like they just think about it a little,
Yeah.
excuse me, differently. Of course, I'm going to start choking. But, you know, when they're like, hey, just so you know, she's going to have a baby soon. One of her amazing partners is going to help on the back end. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's the people that you kind of have to hide it from, and you're on Zoom and you're like moving enough. Like, I'm not about to hop, you know?
Yeah, I think we'll go into that. 'Cause, like, let's talk about that because again, you're in it right now, right?
Yeah.
You could have
My
this
hospital
baby
bag is packed.
in the car. Yeah, like
It's about to go in the car
okay,
next week.
okay. So yeah, and you're really feeling like this could happen really soon, and things are about to change.
Yeah.
Really quickly, and you don't know what that looks like. I think, you know, the idea of telling clients and like the stigma around being pregnant in the working world, like
Mhm.
I don't know the right, like I'm curious to know, in an ideal world, like what would you want people to say to you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if would you
Right.
rather?
Like, I don't even think I know.
Yeah.
But because here's the other piece of it too, is now like it's very deep into the conversations of what are you going to do when you have your baby?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had a baby.
Yeah.
I don't have maternity leave. So it just depends. But the hard part is that it feels like there's no right answer. And everyone gives you different answers of like, you know, 2 weeks. I had someone tell me like, you should probably take 2 weeks. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a lot. But then I've heard other people take like 4 months. And I just know at
like
that
too
point,
much.
I mean, that's a quarter.
Yeah.
So it's hard because obviously your baby is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Family is the most important thing. But we still have bills to pay.
Yeah.
And a career.
Yeah.
My baby likes bougie things. She's not told me that, but I just know. You know?
Yeah.
But so there's just no right answer to it. And that's the scary part, is like, no matter what you say, you just don't know what people are thinking.
Yeah. And I think, I think that this like quote unquote like stigma around like women in the working world, when things change, you know, I've heard from so many, I mean, you see it on like movies and TV shows where it's like, okay, don't tell them that you're pregnant. Like, you know, don't tell your work that you're pregnant yet. You have to wait a while to do that, because what if you were to get laid off, which I know that that's probably employment law, like an issue nowadays, but it's still probably really prevalent and like in the world. And And then again, taking that time off, is that going to affect your production? Like, again, not even just in our worlds. Like, I'm like we own our own businesses. There's kind of, like, I was thinking about there's kind of like a beauty a little bit when thinking about the stigma of pregnant women in the working world. Like, there's beauty of owning your own business, because yes, even if you do take 4 months off, it is a quarter, it is a rebuild, but it's a rebuild. Like, and we know that we've done, like, it's
I just rebuilt like a month ago.
Exactly. So it's like, we actually know that we can rebuild.
Yeah.
No, yes, it's going to be a grind to rebuild those connections and those relationships, look for new clients. You might have missed out on opportunities that were totally teed up and ready for you, but it's like, okay, I can restart here.
Oh yeah.
If you're working for, a tech company or whatever, like, what does that look like? Are you fearful that,
well, I'm sure, like, when you
like,
go
you're
back,
like legitimate promotions,
do they need you anymore?
Do they have they?
I thought about that with people that are gone and then go back. It's like, your teams have routines without you now. It's hard for anyone.
Processes fully change. Like, tech changes.
Yeah.
Did you miss opportunities for raise opportunities? I don't know. And so I'm like, yeah, what does that look like? I'd be so curious to know, like, what some moms that are dealing with that too, like, whether they're thinking about getting pregnant. Are you planning out a timeline?
Corporate world is like harder in a lot of ways too.
I'm like,
because you have to keep up.
It's totally cutthroat.
You have to, like, keep up your appearances and your status a little more. That we have a lot of flexibility with that.
Yeah, because it's like, again, I think there's a little bit more flexibility. Scary flexibility, because again, as being commission based, like,
you could just pick back up.
But
that's really interesting. We should bring a corporate employee.
That's what I was thinking, because I'm like, I'm curious. Like,
if anybody wants to be on this and is corporate, let us know.
Yeah, we really. I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Like, are you literally? And I'd love to, like, in comments or whatever. Are you planning specific times of, like, oh, my quarter or my fiscal year ends here, so I can have a baby? Like, this is
teachers. Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
someone just told me the other day, they were like, teachers, a lot of them try to plan it out because they also get, like, no time off, which is
totally only summer. It's like the summertime.
horrible. Their maternity leave, this probably isn't for everyone, but I had a teacher tell me it was 6 weeks. I was like, for a teacher who stands all day and helps children all day, you get 6 weeks. Absolutely insane. But I mean, for them to try to plan it, like, to be right around summer, dude, that's crazy.
I know, but that's a real thing. And
I think I told you too. I don't know if I told you this. Someone told me it's really great your new company hired you with how pregnant you are. A woman. Crazy. So, I mean, everyone
go ahead and say that's some bullshit. That someone those are, like, intrusive. Those are intrusive thoughts that she just blurted out.
I'm gonna say she felt terrible right after, right?
Let's hope.
But I mean, that makes you think, like,
what else?
I've said stuff to people probably before I was pregnant, So, I mean, that's something to, like, really think about too, is everyone is going through, and dads, because there's a lot of dads that are going to be taking time off and they're going to be in the same boat of, like, do I have to sacrifice helping my partner and my baby
and being there and having the
promotion? Yeah.
Or that, honestly, Alan and I had this conversation. We talked about it on our last episode of, the awesomeness of his company. He has a plethora of maternity leave, which is amazing.
Yeah.
However, he just told his company that he's expecting.
We're having a baby.
Yeah. I'm expecting, but we are expecting. And everyone's so excited. It's great. But the conversation was, so his fiscal year ends in October, or the beginning of October, which is when
that's when he would go back.
Yeah. Like, that's, like, literally the end of his paternity.
Yeah.
So he was like, after he got off the call, he's like, okay, well, I now, it depends on how our reviews go. And he's been on some really tough projects, which Alan is amazing. And I think is really humble I think he does an amazing job at his job. but still it's part of it of like, I'm getting reviewed. This is how this looks like. I have the stable job. And am I going to have to, maybe I'll work really hard and hop on some more projects before the baby comes so that I feel good about taking that time off. Or the conversation then led to, well, maybe I'll only take 2 weeks off and then I'll go back. And it kind of shifted this like, and we've been really flexible about just everything.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when the baby's going to
Right.
come, whatever. But, you know, this idea of what we want to do and how we want to have that time, because like we are both really grateful for like the opportunity for him to have that time, like to be home with the baby. And so it just like, it was like a halt in the day of like, crap, like not only, you know, this is what all women are dealing with, and men and dads and everything. Like we're all thinking about the same things. And I know that some people are able to go back quicker because they figured out a process that works for their family, or they have to. But it's just like, okay, so now he's thinking about, well, if my review doesn't come back as good as it should, then I need to like just keep working so that I can end out the year. And it's like, that's a bummer. Like,
you just like,
that's
no
bummer.
black and white answer. I know, which adds to the stress.
Yeah.
Of just like, what are we going to do?
Like, yeah. So I'm so,
it's hard for everyone having a baby, man or woman, in any industry.
Yeah, I know. And you said it I think it was last episode, last time we talked of like,
yeah, remind me what I say because I didn't watch them.
Memory of a goldfish.
Memory of the goldfish.
It's like the Ted Lasso where he's like, think like a goldfish. Like that's actually not a bad thing. It's like if you make a mistake, just like forget it and move on. So
Yeah,
like, whatever.
Right.
But then if you forget like big things,
it's very minor things. I still got it.
But so you said something. You said last time of like, gosh, I'm forgetting it now. It was, a client or something was like, someone was about to get pregnant and a realtor, their preferred lender was pregnant, had to go on leave. And you were saying, you're like, you know, back then, like, of course I took the business and then we then created a relationship while that person was on leave. And you said, you were like, I wish like I wouldn't have taken that business, you know? And so
it just feels like, or just in a different way. It's this is like the hardest thing to think through, but it's like, what does somebody want?
Yeah.
Do they want to be fully off?
Yeah.
Or do they want it? For me, I'm like, please keep sending me business.
Yeah.
Talia and Turner are amazing. They're going to help you. Like, I mean, too, people are really judging me based on what I'm about to say. But I'm like, hey, maybe a week after I have my baby, like I could take a phone call. What if I'm like at home and I'm just kind of like, I need some interaction, you know? Honestly, I don't know.
Honestly, so I think, and this also goes back, I mean, this also ties into something that I like really would like to talk about too, is like the judgment piece of everyone has their own ideas of like this idyllic situation of you should be taking X amount of time, your baby should be breastfed, your baby this, and this. And it's like, whatever. Who knows? It's like, what makes the most sense for you? What makes the most sense for your family? Like, I think having that flexibility, like mindset of flexibility of like, I don't know what I'm going to feel like. Honestly, your baby might be amazing. And like, I mean, your baby is going to be amazing, but like amazing in the sense of sleep and like
my baby will be very difficult because I was difficult, but right.
You have the time and you're like, yeah, of course I can take a 30-minute call to help someone. Like that's my
fun.
job.
Like it's what we like to do.
Totally.
I wish I could talk to Sarah Blakely. You know, she's the founder of Spanx.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think she has like 4 kids.
Yeah.
And I know that she founded Spanx before she had the 4 kids. So I'm like,
how did you
do it? Because you didn't disappear.
Totally.
I mean, maybe she
took some time, but either way, it's like the fear of the judgment. And I think like for me, that kind of ties back into like the beginning of this, of like this fear of judgment. I've always like had, I think it was because of getting into the industry, honestly, like whenever that was 6.5, 7 years ago, where at least from the realtor's perspective, and especially running a referral-based business, it's always like anyone is a client. Anyone is a potential client. Anyone you meet on the street. Like literally you read all these like books and you hear all these podcasts and that's the like mantra, right?
Yeah.
So you like internalize that because you're like, yeah, I could sell a house to anyone. Like,
yeah.
they're buying a bagel. Yeah, of course. They probably need more space in the pantry space. I don't know.
Got a big toaster at home.
Yeah, like you're always looking for change. You're always looking to help.
That's funny.
So that's like kind of how I've run my own business. But in that, like the negative side of that is you become this, you know, you're appeasing and trying to appeal to
Totally.
everyone. And
yeah.
And that's where, like, I think for me, the fear of judgment, because I've lived in that space for so long, I'm now really trying to get out of that. Because if I'm trying to appeal to everyone, I can't, like, you can't.
Especially now.
Especially now where I'm really trying to prioritize time. I'm really trying to prioritize who are the people I want to spend time with? Who are the people I want to run my business with? Who are the people that I want to help and that value me and value my service? And like, and I think that that's like when you initially post something or you initially tell people that you're pregnant, like the people, your followers, your advocates, the people that are telling you this is badass, you're cool, this is amazing, you can do everything. It's like, those are the people that I want.
And
like,
it's weird too, because like people have definitely come out of the woodworks.
Totally.
That I like didn't even know really noticed me.
Yeah. Okay.
Ever. You know, and then they start responding and you start talking to them and you're like, interesting. Like some people you'll lose, but then you gain new people. So it's almost just like this changing season of life too.
Yeah.
And you just have to go with people who understand you. Oh my God, my baby is like moving. So it feels like an alien.
I don't know if it feels like a fish.
Are you to that point yet?
No, he's like still like a little fish.
Okay, she's like, that's what it feels like. So sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'm like, I just need a minute. I'm sorry.
Which is great.
And sometimes you can see it too. And I'm like, up here. Please don't focus on my belly.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think that I like really prioritizing and like being really mindful about like that and not getting distracted by the girl that tells you, oh, that's so great that they hired you when you're so pregnant. Like, I mean, that would have rattled me, and I know you were obviously like, fuming by it, and I would have too. But I'm also like, screw that person. You're not like, my type of client.
Yeah,
my type of client. And
embracing the change.
Yeah, embracing the change and like being.
We need to add that to our mantras.
I know.
What were they?
Intentionality,
survival,
and embrace change, which I love. And okay, so
do we have a name, by the way?
No.
Still no name. Well, maybe we're just the no name.
Yeah,
working moms.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
but I think like I don't know. I really truly feel like for myself personally, like that's the space that I'm trying to live in. I was in a coaching class this week, and it was fully prioritizing. It's like, we know in our business what you're good at, right? Like, and what you can look and see, like, where do I get my business? Where do I thrive? What do I like to do? And he was like, focus on those things. Don't focus on the distractions.
And don't place to thrive too.
And don't focus on the people that are haters or that like you don't really feel that comfortable with, that like haven't given you the love and the support of your growing family. It's like, that's not it anymore. Like, we could go down a rabbit hole being like, oh, let me try to make it right for that person. You were mentioning like some person has been using you and your interest rates right now.
Gotta kind of just feel like, hey.
And at some point you have to be like, bye.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
This doesn't serve me anymore.
Yeah. 100%.
But it's a hard step.
We just have to look at that new opportunity. It's a forced change, which is good. Like forced change is good.
Yeah.
It's just like you need something new.
You know? Yeah, you have to.
You have to.
But I think that
it's a pretty good note.
Yeah.
Should we end?
Good one. I think so.
Good ending.
I know. I'm like, I feel like this was great.
This was fast.
We added something to our list.
Yeah.
Embracing change. Which I think is huge.
Embracing forced change.
Yeah. Don't be stuck.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Well, this is so awesome.
Awesome.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Great.
yeah, baby's gonna be here soon.
Baby might just be here.
Baby might be here with us.
So
but
here's the little feet that we're kicking in the stomach that you can see right now, kicking the air.
Yeah, but we're gonna crush it. You're gonna crush it.
Yeah.
Whether it's tomorrow or in 4 weeks. And I'm so excited.
Thanks.
Yay! All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.